Hi, this is Marcus Guiliano from MarcusG.tv. Today's topic is health. I'm a chef on a mission. This is a follow-up video. I posted a video the other day on bycatch issues on fish, and I spoke about shrimp a little bit, on how shrimp is how there's so much bycatch issues with shrimp. Bycatch meaning unwanted catch. So for every 1 pound of shrimp that you actually get on your plate, there's 4 or more pounds of other fish that are caught in the nets that are unusable. The boats are not equipped to process the other fish. They're only equipped to process shrimp. So the other fish, whether they're alive, dead, dying, get thrown back overboard into the ocean, and it's really a disaster because that's usable fish that could be going somewhere. Now, after I launched my video last week, I did this the last video a week ago, and I'll put a link here that shows you what that video is. I spoke to a ex-commercial fisherman, and he talked about long line fishing. The long line is where they string out, he said, 200 hooks on a line, let it sit out there and hopes to catch a certain type of fish. He said if you're in the wrong area, he would go sword fishing. He said if you're in the wrong area, you would actually get, instead of swordfish, all sharks. So he said you reel back up those 200 hooks on that one line, there'd be literally 200 sharks. It's not like, oh, there's one shark here or there. He goes, you're getting one or the other. He goes, you just never know. If you're in the wrong area, you never know. He said the hooks cost $1 a hook. Now, of course, the hook's biodegrade. As you know, when you catch a fish and it goes down the fish's throat or something, if it's not the right fish, you cut it, you snip it, and the hook will biodegrade. Well, these hooks would biodegrade, but because the hooks cost $1 each and everything is based upon costs, they would actually, instead of snipping the hook on the fish, they would actually go in and cut the jaw out of the shark to save the hook and then throw the shark back into the water. You guess the shark does not live, the shark dies. He goes, the sharks just literally die. At this point, they're dead. So to save that extra $1, 200 hooks, 220 hooks, are saving $220. But this is what happens when you buy cheap fish. Okay, now swordfish is known to be caught on long line, from long lines. So this is what you don't really see when you go into a restaurant and you see, oh, one restaurant has, let's say, mahi-mahi, because mahi-mahi, I know they long line catch and they hand line catch, one hook, one line. That's why, like for instance, at my restaurant, the mahi-mahi cost me $3 more a pound than you could actually go into the grocery store and buy, or that other restaurants could actually buy wholesale. Because what's typically happening is in the cheaper fish, they're long line caught, they're getting bycatches. Now, mahi-mahi, one of the top bycatches in mahi-mahi is actually sea turtles get caught on the hooks. So the mahi-mahi that I'm advocating is using a hand line caught, hook and line, one hook, one line, one person. So comment was made, well, Marcus, you told us about the shrimp and it was informative, but what's the good shrimp to eat? So this is what I'm talking about, the good shrimp you want to eat. Wild shrimp, there's not many good ways to catch wild shrimp that aren't habitat destructive or bycatch issues. There are 2 that pop to my mind. The salad shrimp, the Maine sweet shrimp, those little small shrimp that come cooked and frozen that they call salad shrimp, those are from Maine, and those are actually trap caught. Or sometimes mid-trawl caught, so they're not wrecking the bottom of the ocean, and they're not, they're targeting a specific species. But in my opinion, if you want the best possible shrimp that are big, that look like shrimp, that are going to resemble shrimp the most, you want to go with Alaskan spot prawns. These are trap caught. Trap caught's a newer. I haven't spoken much about trap. Trap caught is where they drop in a pot, like you see on king crab, on the king crab catch, deadliest catch, where they drop those still pots into the ocean, and when they get them back up, there's mostly crab in there. Well, shrimp, the shrimp go in, it's targeting a species, and if there are bycatches, guess what? They're not jumbled up in a net that's been, circulating on the bottom of the ocean for an hour or so and then brought up on deck and just dropped. There's no stress in there, much less stress in it. So Alaskan spot prawns are probably the single best option if you want a wild caught shrimp. The downsides are to it, a little bit expensive. Now, I get them in my restaurant typically in September and October because that's when they're in season. That's the height of the season. They probably will cost you at least 3, 4, or 5 times the price of other wild caught shrimp that are going with the bycatch and things like that. But if you're serious about preserving the ocean and the ethics of catching things, and then that's really what you want to support. Now, there are several fish farms that are doing the right thing. Now, we're not talking about wild shrimp anymore. We're talking about farm shrimp. As a general rule, farm shrimp are very detrimental to the environment because of the pollution, just like farm salmon, and there's lots of hormones, antibiotics, There's lots of chemicals that go into packing shrimp. Even wild-caught shrimp are packed with chemicals like phosphates and things to gain water weight and preserve the freshness. I particularly like a shrimp called the Right Choice shrimp, and it comes from Ecuador, and basically they have organic standards, but keep in mind there is no specific organic term, or there is no regulated organic term for the seafood industry. For instance, today my restaurants bring in quote-unquote organic tilapia, but they can't specifically advertise as organic because there's no regulation for it. So if you see the word organic, especially in farm salmon or certain fish, it's just a self-regulated term. It doesn't mean much. It just means that the farm thinks they're doing a better job and they know they can get away with calling something organic, and it's really not being certified. So back to the shrimp. Most Asian shrimp are totally out of the question because of the way they set up the farming and the pollution and the density of it is just totally out. Ecuador is one of those countries where they saw the mess and they took steps in the beginning. So most of the time, if you get a farm shrimp from Ecuador, you're much better off than farm shrimp from other places. It might not be the 100% best choice, but you're getting better off than the other farm shrimp. There's a company out of Florida that does a very strict organic farm, and I think you can even buy this shrimp in Costco. Many people have told me that the product is in Costco. Shrimp Boy or something farms, I forgot what exactly it's called. But they actually have a series of lakes where they grow grains to feed tilapia that they raise, then to turn into fish food and do the whole thing back and forth. So they start with the grain, then they grow the fish, and they take the fish and turn it into food pellets, and they start the whole cycle again, and they purge the ponds and clean them and start the whole process over. So that's huge news as far as shrimp. So really, here's the bottom line to the shrimp. If you want to eat good, high-quality shrimp, wild shrimp, Alaskan spot prawns are going to be your best bet. Next, after that, you're going to have to find a farm that's really doing the proper job. That's going to take a little bit of research. And like I said, you probably go to Costco and find that one organic farm. They call themselves organic. And I think they're USDA certified organic. I'm not sure how that exactly works because organic, like I said, is a self-regulated term in the seafood industry. So I'm not really 100% sure. I've not seen the label in quite a few years, but they've been around. So that's it on shrimp. I hope that answered your question. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have any specific question about this video or other videos, I'm happy to turn those questions into its own blog, its own video, and address them. I'm more than happy to. That's how this blog came about, from answering your question. I'm Marcus Guiliano, marcusg.tv. I'm a chef on a mission.